UFOs have once again become the center of attention in recent days, but how about piloting your own, helping this guy find his, and blasting away these unidentified falling objects instead? Today's video is of course brought to you by developer Andrew Morrish and publisher Gearbox, whose indie publishing label has been getting more active, where clicking on the link in the description really helps the channel. And the developer's previous work includes the meta desktop RPG Kingsway and the very familiar looking Super Puzzle Platformer Deluxe from more than 10 years ago, where this game certainly looks to be a spiritual successor of sorts to the earlier title. Alright, so let's get right into things, since that's exactly how this game begins, throwing you straight into the tutorial, but this is similar to titles like Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo, where you have to blow up these coloured blocks in order to get the high score. However, rather than controlling where the blocks are going to drop, you are instead in the level itself, and this controls like a platformer. You have the ability to move and jump, with a primary weapon that you use to shoot at the blocks, as well as a kick that allows you to move blocks around, which comes in handy when you're attempting to build up the biggest block of the same colour. It is fairly basic but feels and controls well, where it's a high score chase with global leaderboards, so there's always something to strive towards. Hazards come in the form of falling blocks, where getting squished by one of these causes a point of damage, as well as various enemy blocks which are coloured in grey, which you usually cannot directly attack, but rather have to destroy an adjacent block in order to clear the obstacle, as well as spikes right at the bottom of the level. This results in you having to be positionally aware at all times, since you have essentially 2 pips of health, one when you are armoured and another when you're reduced to just your underwear, ghosts and goblins style. But you do regain your armour when you level up by collecting stars from destroyed blocks. However, I believe it is the case where stronger enemies spawn where you are at a higher level, so there's definitely a risk-reward to balance. The later worlds have their own gimmicks as well, such as new enemy blocks and hazards, where every addition just tweaks the game ever so slightly to make you think on the move, such as a block that spews out projectiles when the adjacent block is under attack, to electrified blocks that damage you if you touch them, to a monster in a cage that launches itself at your last position after you destroy the block, to even the addition of ice on top of the blocks, which makes platforming that much more difficult. Pro tip: if you're starting off, I would recommend primarily focusing on movement and shooting rather than the kick, since, while useful, it can be a little overwhelming at the start, but you will eventually get the hang of the block spawning patterns, and then you can really think about kicking blocks. More interestingly is the currency that you earn in the top right, where gems unlock levels, and the other thing unlocks upgrades, which are earned primarily through level-specific challenges, but where creating a huge combo and blowing up a large block of the same colour will get you extra gems as well. For the most part, objectives are fairly standard, such as getting a certain number of points, not getting hit for X number of minutes, destroying Y number of blocks in one combo, and so on. But there are more interesting ones, such as shooting down 10 rockets out of the sky that make you play slightly differently. Pro tip: I found the default control scheme on controller to be a little wonky, where it defaults to LB and RB to shoot and kick, promptly switching it to X and B, which, in addition to A to jump, made it much more comfortable for me at least. As for the upgrades, you have your primary weapon, your suit, which affects your jump and mobility, as well as different variations on your kick, where unlocking and finding the best combination for you will be critical to getting the high score. For example, in terms of weapons, there is a super powerful gun which instantly destroys blocks but has a long recharge time, as compared to the rapid fire but weak laser weapon, or in the suit, where the default allows you to glide by holding the jump button in mid-air, but there's an alternative that lets you flutter in the air to a certain extent by continuously pressing jump. What I don't really like is that it doesn't really tell you what the upgrades do before you unlock them, so you need to guess based on the name, but it's a relatively minor complaint since you can master the first few worlds and levels even with the basic equipment. Pro tip: once you got that kicking thing down, you will find that you're able to kick falling blocks in mid-air, allowing you to get blocks to certain spaces that it would otherwise be unable to get to, so there is definitely a high skill ceiling to this game. Hey, remember the guy that I mentioned at the start of the video? We'll get to him in this section all about challenges, but the game provides you with two such options. The first through the main computer in the bridge area, which effectively tutorializes the game when things crop up, telling you about how leveling up restores health or how to maximize your score, throwing you directly into a tutorial with a reward when done successfully. I mentioned the flying saucer design of your ship at the start of this video as well, where cleverly, the bridge or the center part is where you get your upgrades or to choose a level, and then exiting to the outer ring allows you to explore more of the ship, which is where the stranded NPCs are located. These weird and strange creatures that you find in space have now taken up residence on your ship, providing a number of challenges that gives you an even better understanding of the game as well as how the character controls. The couple of challenges that I have played generally include trying to stay alive until all the hazards drop, which can be as insane as this one with all the spikes, where the pattern of blocks dropping always repeats, so you will eventually learn and master the level by identifying the safe spots. These add a nice level of challenge and an alternative to the core block clearing action puzzling, rounding up a good game. Oh, did you wonder what happens when you clear all the objectives in the world? I was curious myself and did just that with World 1, which did award you with a little trophy, which you can find in your bedroom on the ship itself, where there are 12 to collect, which does seem like plenty of content. Pro tip: I spent 3 sessions with this game to make this video and progressively found myself getting more and more comfortable with the game and how it controls, so even if you are struggling initially, take a break and come back and it should start to click. Overall, this is a solid entry in the action puzzler space where the minute-to-minute action feels good with plenty of variety in weapons, abilities, upgrades, enemies, and level gimmicks. It starts off kind of weird and throws you into things without explanation, where I'm still not 100% sure what this story is about, but apparently these blocks are trash and you're helping to clear them out. That's not really the point, however, where the key focus is the action puzzling aspect, which is fantastic, where it's a nice alternative to the mean bean machines and the Tetrises of the world. We can find more of the best indies of 2023 in this video.